Semper Veritas, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Quarantine at Harvard. First, it's the genesis, it's the start, the frontier. It's always exciting to be operating at this level. And for those who were able to check out our trailer, hopefully you got an idea, so to speak, of what this platform is, what Harvard Yard or Hahvahd, I should say, is all about. But I'm excited. I'm your host, David Chen, hailing from Leverett House.
I'm your host, Anna Farronay, hailing from Quincy House.
I'm also your host, Melissa Meng, hailing from Winthrop House.
And I'm your fourth and final host, Fez Zafar, hailing from Stoughton Hall. We'd like to thank all of you for tuning in, as David said, for our first episode as we kick off this series. Just to provide everybody with some background as to what this is going to look like. We are known as the Quad or the Quad Squad. Depends on the day how fun you're feeling. But today we're just going to be talking among the four of us, addressing recent news that's been going on in the media. We're also going to be talking about our move-in experience, as all of us this week moved into Harvard College for our freshman year. In future episodes, you can expect to see interviews with Harvard freshmen, in addition to some special guests from within and outside the Harvard community. So, we have a lot of very interesting long-form conversations we're very excited to get to, and I think that all of you will enjoy them, whether you're listening from Spotify, YouTube, or any other media outlet.
Yeah, and it's so funny that you mention our format here, because ultimately this is what we call a conversational podcast, right? We'll talk about the ends of the earth in terms of topics, but also expect for our episodes to, at the very beginning, to feature the four of us talk to each other. I guess to clarify as well, when we interview, expect two hosts, two of us, whether it's Fez, Melissa, Anna, David, or whatever permutation, and two of us interview the two of us, conversate. I personally don't prefer the word interview. That's just my personal preference. But and at the very beginning, though, you can't expect all four of us to get together, conglomerate, summarize, synthesize, other big words to kind of give you guys a teaser for the interview. So that kind of summarizes at least what you can expect from quarantine at Harvard here. But to cut to the chase, we got moving stories. We got moving stories.
Let's have Melissa kick it off, since Melissa was actually the first one of us to move in.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Yes. All right, so I moved in last Wednesday, and so I actually finished phase 2 yesterday. I got my third negative test at 8 in the morning, which is amazing.
Could you explain the phase process real quick for those?
Yeah, definitely. So for those of you who don't know, we initially start in phase 1, and that's as soon as we arrive on campus. So we first go to the science center to get tested, and then we get these little orange wristbands that most people are very confused about, because it's like, do I keep it on? Do I keep it off? But anyway, so basically we go to the food truck, show them that wristband, and we get our food meals for the day and potentially for the next day as well. And so afterwards, you go to your dorm and you unload for 20-ish minutes, but honestly, I took more like an hour. And then you basically settle in your dorm room and you stay quarantined there until you receive the result for your first test. So for people who moved in early, they received their test results within 10 hours. And for some people who moved in on the 27th or 28th, it took them more 36 hours. So it really just depends on when you moved in. But as soon as you receive that first result, and assuming it's negative, of course, you are out of phase 1 and you move into your second phase of quarantine. And during phase 2, you are only allowed to hang out with one other person at a time, and you're not allowed to leave the immediate area of wherever your residential building is. So for me, for Winthrop, I am not supposed to leave the courtyard, and I'm pointing to my window, but I'm not supposed to leave the courtyard. And then for people in the yard, of course, they can't venture outside of the gates of the yard. And so you'll continue doing that for the next few days until you get your third negative test result. And that's when you move into phase 3. And as soon as you're in phase 3, you're allowed to go into the Cambridge area and the Boston area that's relatively close. They kind of have a circle drawn to show you where you can actually go to on the map. But you can so that means if you're in the yard, you can go to the Charles River and just take a walk or a run. And then for me, being in Winthrop House, I can actually go to the yard now if I wanted to. And so you have a lot more freedom as long as you're still abiding by the mask wearing rules and social distancing. And then, of course, effective on September 9th, I believe, we're allowed to go outside and hang out in groups of no more than 10 people. And then you can also eat with no more than 4 people outside. So yeah.
So that means the quad squad can actually eat lunch together.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Pull up. Yeah. No, it was kind of funny because you know that first negative test you get, well, hopefully negative test. It's kind of funny how they do it because they email you this really sinister email that says
I know
your
it frankly scared me.
It's so scary.
It's like your
I
test
couldn't-
results already. It doesn't tell you like, oh
Right,
hey, you're
no.
negative, go for it. And the feeling I got when I saw that email was a very familiar feeling because it was the same feeling I got when I saw that my college board.
Oh my
No.
god, no.
Well, two familiar feelings. It was my college board email saying that my AP test scores are ready.
Yeah.
And there was another one where application is waiting for you, or your application status has been updated for
Ooh.
Harvard.
Oh,
These feelings, man, they are the worst.
they are.
You get cold
Honestly.
sweat, your eyebrows sweat, your knees sweat, every place in your body that doesn't sweat starts sweating. But thankfully, all 4 of us have been tested negative. We're all in phase 2.
Yep, very lucky.
Well, except Melissa.
I'm in
Except for
phase
Melissa, who is in
3.
phase 3.
Yeah. And I mean, the testing at Harvard has been very interesting process. Let me pull up the dashboard here. David was sharing this with us last night.
Oh yeah.
Harvard has been keeping everyone updated. Regarding testing and like the stats that have been coming out. But the Harvard positivity rate, if you look at the last 7 days, in the last 7 days we've had the number of tests has been 6,882, of which there have been 7 positive cases, which is a 0.1 positivity rate. So that's really amazing.
Wow.
And I mean, I think that the frequent testing is definitely helping facilitate the opportunity for students like us to be able to be on campus, which obviously we're very grateful for, especially as colleges around the country are having to go virtual. So it's been a very interesting process.
Yeah. Well, to clarify, those 2 undergraduate positive cases, right? The 7 includes
2 undergraduates.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Right.
So of the 7 people who have tested positive, I think that includes faculty, graduate students, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think 2 of those 7 are actual undergraduates, so freshmen.
yeah.
Right.
Rip.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not.
But
the
I think
first.
it's actually like phenomenal. I'm really happy that
Yeah, no,
we'll have so few
incredible.
cases.
Right.
But our journey here to quarantine and being like safely subdued in our dorm was not like easy for all of us, because I've heard at least one of us in the quad squad had one hell of a journey to get to where they are at this point. Anna, what happened? What happened, man?
So much went wrong. Okay. But a lot of things went well too. So I'm from Florida, and I haven't like left my house really in Florida for like a long time because we're the COVID hotspot of the world, all that jazz. But I had to like get on my flight to Fort Lauderdale. I'm from Fort Lauderdale to Boston. So I go there, and immediately there's crowds of people. I've never seen the airport this full in my entire life. I travel constantly, like pre-COVID, and this had more people than I've ever seen before. So I was stressed. I was like, okay, this is not going to go well. But I was prepared. I had 2 masks. I had like the N95, which is right there, and I had another, like one of those like surgical masks on top. And I had a face shield, and I wore a poncho. Like I was like, no, we're not getting COVID on this flight, but like we're hoping at least. And so I like go check my bag, all that stuff. Like it was fine. Like the process itself was okay. Getting on the flight was fine. I rode JetBlue. JetBlue's phenomenal. They have little middle seats open. It was great. But when I got to Boston, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take an Uber to Harvard. So I go to the Uber. So I go to like the Uber spot in Logan, and I order an Uber. It's like 22 minutes away, and I was like, okay, I'll wait. It's fine. So like I'm waiting there. I'm standing around, and then I check the Uber app again. It's like 12 minutes away. I'm like, okay, great, not bad. And then immediately the guy cancels on me.
No.
Like,
no.
And then they pull up another person, and that person gets it. I see them, and they cancel. Another person gets it, sees it, canceled. Another person, I wait 6 minutes, they cancel. And then finally, the 5th Uber driver didn't cancel. I was stressed. I was looking at the little map. I was like, please just get on the little highway to go to the airport, please. He gets there. He's great. Like, I get in the car. He's talking to me about, like, how he moved from DC to Boston, how he really likes Boston. Like, he was a really nice guy. it was a little awkward sometimes because he was like, DC would have been a better choice than Boston for college. But I'm okay. I'm okay going to Harvard. I don't mind.
Did you tell
So
him?
that I no, I did. He knew I was going to Harvard. He asked
Oh.
me like what school I was going to. But it was nice. He was a nice guy overall. And then he drops me off 2 miles away from the science center where we're supposed to get tested.
no.
Oh, also, just to note, I'm traveling alone, so I don't have like my
Yeah.
parents or my siblings with me, and I have 2 like huge bags of luggage, like 50 pounds each, in my backpack. And I'm not very strong. I'm not very fit, so I was like, okay, well, we're gonna try to make this work. And I had to drag those 2 bags with me all along like Massachusetts Avenue, I think. I'm not sure which road it was to get to the science center. But as I'm about to arrive at the science center, I see these men, and they're just in a group. And one of them comes up to me, and they're like wearing little Harvard like shirts. I'm like, okay, like they're like people that work for Harvard. And they talk to me, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I say, "No, I'm not. I'm tired." And so, there were the shuttle service people, and they asked me. They're like, "Hey, like go ahead, get tested. Like, where are you going?" And I was like, "Oh, Quincy House." And they looked at me, and they're like, "That's really far from here, and you're gonna have to walk a lot." I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm okay. I can do it." And they're like, no, don't worry about it. We'll just drive you. We'll take you on the shuttle.
Nice.
So let me like put my bag like in the shuttle. I got tested, got my food, all that stuff. Came back, and they drove me all the way to Quincy. But they made a mistake. It wasn't Quincy they drove me to. They drove me to Leverett House.
Oh.
And like I got
right
off,
across the
Leverett.
street.
I got off the shuttle, and like, okay, great. I have my like luggage, and I'm still tired, but like I can like pull like the little bags like maybe like 100 feet to the gates of like what I thought was Quincy. And I get there, and someone's like, "Welcome to Leverett House," and I was like, "Oh no!"
Wait, how far? How far is Quincy from Leverett?
It's right across the street.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't
but-
like another mile away.
No. But this is what happened.
Okay.
I asked the person like, "Oh no, I'm going to Quincy," and they're like, "Okay, just like go straight down and make a turn, like make it, like go down a corner." And I'm terrible with directions, but I'm like, I can figure this out. So I go down, and I'm like going the opposite direction that Quincy is in, and then I realize I'm going the opposite direction Quincy is in. I go like where I thought Quincy was, but what turned out to be like the back entrance, which isn't open, obviously. And so I had to walk a little bit more, and I finally got to Quincy. Then I get there, I'm like checking in and everything, and the Quincy House like manager, I'm not sure what to call them. They're like, "Oh, we don't have an ID for you. You're gonna have to walk to the Smith Center to get an ID."
Oh.
So I was like, "Okay, I can do that." So I go to the Smith Center, I get my ID, I come back, and then finally I arrive in my dorm room and I take a nap for like an hour. It was fantastic. So that's my odyssey getting to Harvard.
Wow.
TLDR is just Anna just getting completely screwed over by every single thing that can go wrong.
Except the shuttle service people. They were so nice.
Yeah.
My experience wasn't, like super eventful, which I guess is lucky, compared to Anna's, I guess. I moved in on Sunday, so my family arrived on Friday, and so we were kind of just getting some supplies on Saturday, and so we moved in Sunday afternoon. Luckily the house I was in is pretty close to the testing center near the science center. So it was a pretty nice and quick process. So I guess the antithesis to what Anna ended up seeing. But yeah, mine wasn't, I guess, super eventful, but it was obviously a nice experience. Obviously sad because you're saying goodbye to your family, but it was definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Did anyone cry or like tear up a little bit?
No.
I did.
I could have sworn that I was going to because I'm a big crier, but I actually did not. I'm really proud of myself.
I didn't think I would, but at the very end I did. So
At the airport, I like was listening to like the Miley Cyrus like Ready Set Don't Go, like the duet with her dad, Billy Ray Cyrus, and like I just started crying. It's like I was gonna miss home and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah. If I may add as well, I'm not going to share too much about my move-in story. It's also rather uneventful. But I did have a very interesting thing to add, which is, so guys, I got to witness a real life Karen in the flesh.
Oh, I thought you were about to say wedding proposal. I don't know why. Like that's what I thought it was gonna be.
Okay. Yeah. No, unfortunately not. That's another one on my bucket list. But no,
It's a cute one.
I was able to witness the behavior of a wild Karen in person, in the flesh, 2 seats in front of me on the plane. And that was like meaningful to me because you see Karens on Twitter and in videos, and you're like, oh, okay, that's like this abstract concept, but I actually got to meet one. It was so cool.
What happened?
Okay, so it was okay. So preface this, it was obvious that she was drunk before boarding, because she was like screaming and not screaming, but like oh, and she was with her partner. I don't know if it was her husband or her boyfriend or anything. And she was like, oh, la di la. You can tell drunk behavior, right? And she wasn't wearing a mask. And when we boarded the plane, we were right behind her, and the flight attendants obviously reminded her to put on her mask, right? And then as I kind of forgot about her until a flight attendant actually like came up to her and said, okay, this is the second time we told you to, because she got her mask off again, this is the second time we told you to put on your mask. After that, we're gonna have to call security. Obviously not on the plane, but like when we deplane and all that, the security will come
Right.
and escort you off. And so on and so forth. Went on for it again. They took off their mask. Went back. The flight attendant went back, and then this is what's interesting, and this is what it was so exciting to see, because this was where like the Karen behavior kicked in. So the flight attendant's like, this is the third time, please, ma'am, you have to put on your mask. We will ask security once we deplane to escort you out. And she was like, so first phase of Karenism, right? Denial. She was like, you did not tell me to take off my mask. This was the first time you mentioned it. And that's not true. And then after that, it's aggression, right? You're harassing me. I'm trying to sleep. It's a red eye flight, by the way, as well. So it was like 2 a.m. You're harassing me. You're being a B word. Just attack. And then finally, it's the third and final phase is the phone. She whips out the phone, turns on the flash, and ironically wakes everyone else up on the plane, including me. And then I was just there. I wanted to film it so bad as well, but I decided to be the better person. But yeah, no, that was my first ever encounter with a person like that.
Wait, was security called when y'all were deplaning
yeah,
or no?
it was okay. It was so it was overhyped. It was just this old lady who came up wearing like this little security badge thing, and it's like, all right, guys, come off. So honestly, they got the better deal because they just got to deplane earlier
Sure.
than all of us.
That was part of their plan the
Maybe
whole
they
time.
planned it. Oh,
Maybe that was the plan.
Okay, if they
Big
did
brain.
that, okay, more power to them. That was brilliant.
Big brain.
That
But
was,
not more power to them because they're endangering other people's
that's true.
lives.
Less power to
Exactly.
them. No, less power to them.
Wear a
But
mask.
But yeah, so
Please.
that was my experience with the plane. A decent security protocols. I feel like so far from the plane to Harvard to the airport, decent security protocols. I feel like it's definitely a step in the right direction. I'm looking around Harvard campus, and most I haven't seen anyone who hasn't worn a mask. Have you guys seen anyone who?
I saw 2 people not wearing a mask.
I have seen people not wearing a mask as well.
Sacrilegious. Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know. It's difficult because we're in a city that's not like, it's like a lot of Harvard people here, but like it's not everyone goes to Harvard, so it's like I don't know. I think there's some people like that don't.
Well, it is very interesting because so coming from Iowa, where we haven't had a statewide mask mandate, I think there have we actually haven't had one. I think at all since the virus has started, we haven't had like a statewide one. It's interesting because then when you arrive in Massachusetts, and you see almost every single person wearing a mask. I mean, I can tell you from personal experience, whenever I would go out when I was in Iowa, it seemed like at least 70 to 80% of people were wearing masks, but obviously that 20 to 30% can still really mess things up. But, it's really interesting to see people here, for the most part, abiding by those rules. So that's it's definitely cool to see geographically how diverse the U.S. has been in responding to the coronavirus.
Yeah, like same thing here because like I was talking about how like the Fort Lauderdale airport was so full because like I don't know, Florida people are crazy. We like traveling, we like do things we're not supposed to do. And when I get to the Massachusetts airport, empty. I saw like probably like all the people from my flight plus like 5 other people the entire time I was walking through the airport.
That's
No one
incredible.
was there. It was phenomenal. I was like, this is great. So yeah, definitely differences.
Yeah. SFO was empty as well, but that was also because it was 1 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, that
That's
reminds
true.
me. There is no feeling in the world like it is standing in an empty airport in the middle of the night. It is such a ethereal feeling, like because it's completely empty. Your footsteps echo, right? But it's such a cavernous area that you're so used to being like full, right? I can't explain it. It's like going to Taco Bell at 3 a.m. to get like chalupas or something. It's
Oh my god.
I don't know. There's no other feeling in the world. It's exclusive, right? But I think we can't talk about a moving experience without mentioning the food.
Mm.
And I understand opinions
Yes.
may vary, right? I'm personally not a picky eater, but I know some people have some pretty strong opinions about food. I don't know about you guys.
Me.
Let's read the. Oh, really?
That's
Ooh,
me.
we got
I-
dissenters.
2 people here. Yeah.
Picky eater at heart. Yeah.
I'm not a picky eater. The food here is just not good. It's not it. Like, I'm
Oh.
sorry. Like, the pasta we had, like, I think me, Fez, and David all, like, came the same day.
Yeah.
The pasta was not it.
I
I'm
agree.
sorry. The pasta had no flavor. The shrimp, great. 10 out of 10. So what I ended up doing was I have ramen that my friend, like, got for me as a joke.
Oh.
And, like, I made the ramen and I put all the shrimp there. And that was my dinner. Instead of the pasta had 0 flavor. So that was good. But yesterday, the chicken with the broccoli, pretty okay. Like, I
Yeah.
wasn't complaining that much. I like the broccoli. I like chicken. It was basically just chicken nuggets. So, like, there's really anything to complain
True.
about there.
Mhm.
I do have a contradicting opinion though, and this is why I say I'm a picky eater. So for the longest time, I used to eat pasta without like sauce or anything. It would just be like
Oh my god, I know
pasta
someone exactly
plus
like
salt.
you.
and
Like buttered noodles or something.
Yes,
That's what I've heard.
that's perfect. See, even though I don't really like butter either, but that's a different topic. Different topic. I will say the pasta, because it was like flavorless, it was perfect for me, and so I actually was like, okay, this isn't bad. Like I can deal with this. But my favorite food here so far has to be the breakfast danishes. Like I got 2 today, but I've been getting 1 each day so far. So.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess I kind of stand out here because I haven't. I mean, I've enjoyed the food. I think since I've gotten here, I'm not necessarily a picky eater, so I mean that's probably why. But I've enjoyed it so far. I think every meal has definitely been pretty nutritious, and I mean I think it's tasted well. So I guess I probably
Yeah.
stand out on that front.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
See, my standards are school lunches, at least my high school lunches. So really, like, if you
fair.
slap together
Sure.
like
That makes sense.
cardboard, it stands with school lunches. But I would say though, my only complaint, again, me personally, I'm okay with the food. It'd be funny if we like started like a food review channel where like, all right, today, and they name it.
Potential
Me and
spin-off.
Melissa would be
Potential
such
spin-off.
fun hosts for that.
Oh no,
Yeah.
we would be pure critics.
Harsh critics.
Your
harsh critics.
critics.
No, but yesterday lunch, I went down the dining hall and there was an item that intrigued me because it was named Manhattan clam chowder. Now, I'm a person who really loves clam chowder. I really love the creaminess.
Isn't clam chowder from Boston?
It is, yeah. So it's a native Boston dish,
Thing.
right?
Yeah.
New England clam chowder, Boston clam chowder, right? Okay, but get this, Manhattan. First of all, we're in New England. We're in Boston/Cambridge. Why are you serving Manhattan clam chowder? It's inventing its cognitive dissonance at its finest. No, but also
It's like you're in Italy and you're serving New York style pizza.
yeah, or just yeah, exactly. It doesn't fit, right? But I like how I'm doing the Italian
Yeah.
hand here, but also the clam chowder was red. It was tomato based.
That's
and
strange.
Yeah, so it was just nothing I expected. It was still good. I mean, soup in general, I like soup. But yes, definitely something that struck me as false advertising. And so I just want to put that out there. That's my only complaint.
You know, I wanted
Okay.
to jump to this as one of our probably last topics before we have to conclude today. Today in Massachusetts, a very interesting election's happening. We're seeing the Democratic primary between Ed Markey and Joe Kennedy. So that'll be very interesting because that's been a race that I think, at least among Democrats, has been pretty closely watched over the last few months. It's interesting because the polling has kind of gone back and forth between the two. I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts on this race.
I haven't followed it particularly. I know Fez has definitely been like invested in it, and Anna, I believe.
Mhm.
Have you also been following it? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my. I'm not fulfilling my duties as a good citizen, but yeah, I'm going to defer to the experts here.
I mean, you just moved to Massachusetts, so like obviously no problem with that. But like,
What-
I don't know. I've been like curious about it because originally I was a Joe Kennedy stan because I was like, it's the Kennedys. Like, who doesn't love the Kennedys?
How do you stand a politician?
Yeah, I don't. I stan a lot of people that
okay.
probably shouldn't be stan, but so like I originally thought like, oh, it's the Kennedys, like fantastic. Like I love JFK, but then like my friends started talking to me and they're like, But Joe Kennedy like stands for like the democratic institution where it's like political dynasties, like the Bushes, the Clintons, the Kennedys, etc. And like that's a bad model because it like just preserves power into certain families or certain groups. Versus Ed Markey, although he is a career politician by all accounts, he is still like a maverick. Like he doesn't really adhere to the institution of the DNC because like he advocates for rather radical leftist policies like per DNC standards like the Green New Deal. So I don't know. I obviously like I'm not from Massachusetts. I don't live here, so I'm not going to be mad at whoever wins. But I do think that Ed Markey winning would represent like a radical person winning over the Democratic dynasty.
Now, obviously, by the time I think our audience will be listening to this, the race will have passed and obviously will have
That's
been
true.
decided, or at least possibly. Actually, I don't know to what extent the mail-in ballots could play a factor. Or how long that could take to count up. But as I'm looking at polling right now, and a quick disclaimer, polling should never, help you determine whether or not you're going to vote for somebody. You should obviously do that based on policy and history. But as I look at polling right now, it looks like Kennedy definitely had a lead, I think, early on in the year. But it appears that more recently, I think we're seeing Ed Markey with a pretty strong lead, I think, in the race. So I think that it looks like it'll likely go his way. I think Real Clear Politics, is giving him a pretty nice spread when they look at the aggregate polling. So it looks like it'll go in his direction. So Anna, I know you were obviously addressing Markey right there. So I think it'll be interesting to see how this election unfolds because it really does kind of represent a generational kind of thing, but then also I think that it'll be interesting because as you said, the Kennedys have obviously been a political dynasty within the United States, and so while Joe Kennedy is already a congressman, Massachusetts has always been home country essentially for the Kennedys. So it'll be interesting to see whether through this race that remains so, or whether perhaps he may return in another Senate election that may come in the future.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And I understand that that was said to be the last topic, but I did want to mention one little spiel, so to speak, and I really want to know you guys' thoughts as well as maybe we can brainstorm solutions because we're Harvard students. We want to think of address the problems and envision solutions. Anyways, no, but that is revolving around waste, because it's something that has stood out to me in stark contrast to, well, I guess the idea of sustainability, because the amount of waste that's generated from our takeout meals is extraordinary. Because what you have are paper or plastic bags, right? And then each of your food items are either packaged as well, because you have your food containers. If you're having fruit cups, that's plastic, milk, plastic, all the water bottles as well, because we can't fill up water. They gave us a bunch of water bottles, right? I went through like 6 of them already. And that's the other thing. Our bathroom doesn't have decent like flow of tap water. It's really slow.
Oh, it is not. Mine's fantastic.
Oh, okay. So,
and mine's pretty good as well.
Yeah, I have a decrepit faucet. So, but still, like if you count, and also even worse, utensils, right? Because they give you like 2 pairs of utensils per meal. That's like 6 a day. And I've only used the fork. I haven't used the salt pepper packets. I haven't used the napkin. Oh, I guess I should. I just exposed that I have poor eating habits, but knives as well. And so I've saved them, right? But eventually, I don't know what to do with them. I think eventually I'll have to throw them away. And that's really concerning me because if you extrapolate this to what the how many students are on campus? 1,000-ish.
Yeah, about maybe a little less than that.
Maybe a little less, but so that's a lot of waste. A lot of waste. Unreusable waste as well. And I don't know, that's been plaguing me for ever since I got here and I got my first meal. So so that's my biggest concern with our meal situation right now.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I've been trying to do as much as I can with what we're given. So, like, for these plastic bags, like, I know, obviously, Harvard didn't really, like, we were told to bring our own trash cans. So, for me, like, I'll take these here. I'll take like these green plastic bags, and that'll be like my trash bag there. So that way I don't have to like bring trash bags of my own. So that's how I use those. And then for these paper bags that we get, these are where our meals come in from. I've been like decorating them or using them as things to draw on sometimes. Because like for me as an artist,
nice.
I love making things out of stuff. So that's what I've been using that for. And then for the water bottles, now this is really interesting. So I actually the other day I took the caps off the water bottles and I actually made something out of it because I really needed something to be propped a little higher. So I just glued them together and then, or actually taped them together, and then that was a stand. But then I also just like, I love making art out of like what's considered trash. So for me, I'm just making a bunch of creative projects out of the things that we have. And then but then again, that still leaves like all of the containers and everything. So I'm trying to recycle as much as I can, definitely. But I mean, even then, it's definitely still a problem. So
we need to share these this is a clippable thing, honestly. We need to share these techniques for everyone to know.
Absolutely.
Art, obviously. I would say, so I have two methods. So one is I'm planning on cutting this plastic bottle in half and using it as a plant. Plant.
Oh my god, I was thinking the same thing. I love little plants.
Yeah, because I've done something similar at my hometown, and I didn't bring any plants here, and I love having plants on my desk. There's probably a.
We should go get plants together, David. Once we're out of phase 3,
and like grow them over the semester, you know, or
oh,
something
it's
like
so
that.
cute. Yeah.
But yeah, I operate on the placebo that there's a plant there that oxygenates my surroundings and boosts my brain power.
I did the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So my other way, of course, is ordering. I order off Amazon metallic utensils because really these plastic utensils are such a waste, and I really implore everyone who can afford, and they're cheap. I got well, they're not metallic, they're reusable plastic ones that you can wash, and they're like a $5 set off Amazon, and it's free shipping.
Yeah.
So great. I really implore everyone to consider these options. Maybe if you're interested in planting something in your plastic bottles, that's one idea, but definitely the metallic or reusable utensils.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, these are all great ideas, like phenomenal ideas. I've been thinking of like doing a little plant thing. I also didn't bring a pencil holder. So like I was thinking of like using like the water bottle, like cutting it in half and using a pencil
that'd be
holder.
really cute. Yeah.
So yeah, life hack, environmental life hacks.
I think we've probably reached, we're nearing our recommended time guideline. So just wanted to thank all of you for sharing your interesting perspectives on this plethora of topics today, and to everyone listening. Again, whether it's on Spotify, YouTube, or any other kind of media outlet, we're absolutely grateful that you're taking the time to hear our perspective with Quarantined at Harvard within the Hahvahd Yahd network. Please be sure to tune in for our next episode coming to you soon. It'll feature conversations with students. Conversations with students so that you can hear more about their perspectives, backgrounds, and thoughts on current events and topics. So thank you so much for joining. I think all of us can kind of close out. Sorry, go ahead, Anna.
Also, if you have any like little sustainable ideas, what you're doing with the waste generated, please post them on your Instagrams and tag us in it. We'd love to see what y'all are doing.
Right.
Yes, and for Instagram
as well. Yep. Be sure to leave comments on our social media.
Yes, that would be amazing. And for anyone who doesn't know what our Instagram is, it is at hahvahd.yahd, and that's like HAHVAHD, then period. YAHD. So just to like clear that up. But yeah, please reach out to us. We love hearing from you guys. Be amazing.
Yep. Link will be in the podcast description as always. And yeah, that wraps up first episode of Quarantine at Harvard.
Woo!
First of many to come.
First of many to come. And as always, Semper Veritas.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody.